Hi, my name is Aaron Bucheister. I'm a producer in Annapolis, Maryland, and I recorded Lee Chapman's song, Couldn't Go Wrong. This song was a very funny song. It was a song written almost in the style of like country music. And Lee told me it was kind of a departure for him stylistically. I don't think Lee has written very many country songs, so I don't think he has a lot of knowledge about the cliches of the genre. So sometimes that's a hindrance to people. But when working with Lee, I like to think about his sometimes lack of knowledge about these cliches as more of an opportunity to create something that's unique. So a lot of times when we listen to these songs as MIDI arrangements, they don't really have a lot of magic to them. And I feel like I try to humanize these MIDI arrangements and bring some of the magic to them. So for instance, the banjo line that is recurs throughout this song is a very strange melody that I don't think anyone would ever come up with on a banjo. But because Lee doesn't know the limitations of the instrument, he could create something that's interesting and no one would ever create before. So it's an instance of, taking something that could be considered a negative and turning it into a positive. And I think that's a really cool thing about Lee, that he is adventurous in his undertakings. So I got this song, and that's the MIDI arrangement, and the banjo was a MIDI instrument, and I said, Lee, I would love to humanize this, so he gave me permission to bring in a banjo player. I got my friend Jacob Panic, who's a fantastic banjo player from Baltimore, to play banjo on it, and he had a pretty hard time playing it because it's just weird. It's not like most country music, so it doesn't fall under your fingers very easily. It's just not cliche, even though it's trying to be cliche, so that's even more interesting. So I also played acoustic guitar on this song, some pretty fun lines, some pretty fun interjection lines. Lee also played acoustic guitar, and again, there's lots of chords in this song that are not your typical country chords. It's like country music written by someone who grew up listening to Sondheim instead of Dolly Parton. But so I tried to play cliche styles even within those chords that were not typical of the genre. And then I also rented an upright bass, a nice upright bass from my friend Mark Schatz, who is a bluegrass legend. And I played that on this song, and that was again a pretty big challenge because some of these chord progressions were pretty wacky. It doesn't fall under the fingers very well, so it actually took me quite a bit of time to get a good take of that. Mark Schatz is a great bass player, and I probably should have just asked him to play on this song instead of just borrowing a bass, but I had a ton of songs I needed a bass for, and it just made sense to do that. But he will be appearing on a future Lee Chapman song, which might be secret, so I'm not going to tell. So then I also played baritone guitar, baritone electric guitar. Usually guitar is a 6-stringed instrument usually, and usually standard tuned low E to high E. So baritone guitar is lower than that, same intervals, but the lowest string is a B string. So the scale length is a bit longer. So I had recently acquired a baritone electric guitar, and that is a very classic instrument in early country music. Lots of Patsy Cline, and even up until today, it's a great instrument for that. So I was putting it on every song I was working on at the time, or at least trying to put it on every song. And this is a song that it really added a really cool, unique element to. So that's the only like electric guitar sound, and it's really low. Yeah, and it's a funny song. I think it's hilarious. It sounds country and cliche, even though it was really difficult to play on because it broke a lot of the rules of country songwriting. And I love it. I think it's the funniest song I've ever heard.